I'm Kaylee, and today I'm doing the Am I Like Jane Austen book tag. This tag was created by Shelley, and so I will leave a link to their channel where you can go over and see the original tag and subscribe to their channel. And please do subscribe to this channel and follow me on Goodreads and Storygraph and Instagram and all the places. And we're gonna dive straight into the prompts and find out how similar am I to Jane Austen? Number one, Jane Austen was an artist and a writer. So give yourself a point if you're an artist, and give yourself a point if you're a writer. I am definitely not an artist. Although music is considered an art form, but I don't think that's the kind of art that they're talking about here. And I do write, but I have never been published. I have no plans to be published. I just write for my own amusement. So it's just a hobby, sort of. I don't know if I would call myself a writer. I would not identify myself as a writer. So far, no points. Number two, Austen was born to a large family. She had a total of 7 siblings, 1 sister, and 6 brothers. Give yourself a point if you have 3 or more siblings in your family. I am the oldest of 4 siblings, so at least I get a point for that. Number 3, Jane Austen did not care for formal education. Give yourself a point if you did not care for school. I will say that I loved education as a kid, but I hated the 2 years that I actually went to an actual classroom school. I was homeschooled for 10 years, and I loved being homeschooled, and I thrived. I loved being homeschooled. So I'm definitely giving myself this point. I did not like formal education, but I loved being educated. Number 4, dark humor is woven throughout Jane Austen's writing. Give yourself a point if you have a grim sense of humor. It says you must share a dark joke in order to get this point. Ugh. I think that I do have sort of a morbid sense of humor at times, but I don't know any dark jokes. I don't know if I would say my humor is dark. It tends to be a little bit morbid sometimes, joking about death and things like that, or just kind of joking about serious subjects like that you probably should not be joking about. I don't think I'm gonna give myself this one though, because I can't think of a dark joke, so too bad. Number 5, Jane broke off 2 engagements and she died a spinster. Give yourself a point if you are single. Hallelujah! Jane Austen and I are the same. So I'm definitely giving myself a point for being single. Number 6, Jane Austen experienced low periods or spells of depression. Give yourself a point if you have struggled with mental health. I'm certainly going to give myself a point for this one. There have definitely been difficult times in my life when I've struggled with anxiety and depression. But the thing that has always brought me through those difficult times is my faith in God and prayer. You would just not believe how much prayer really helps during those tough times. So I feel like I have that in common with Jane Austen as well. Of course, she was a preacher's daughter, and I'm a preacher's daughter. You know what? It's not even in the quiz, but I'm gonna give myself an extra point for being like Jane Austen. I'm giving myself a point because she was the daughter of a clergyman, and so am I, and we have our faith in common. Okay, number 7, Jane moved away from her childhood home in her 20s. Give yourself a point if you've lived away from your childhood hometown or region. Oh, I definitely get a point for this. I ought to get 10 points for this. I have lived in 2 different countries, in like 10 different houses, in 5 or 6 different cities. I've lost count. One time I counted it up and I was like, okay, this is when I was born, and then we moved there, and then we moved to a different country, and then we moved there, and then we moved to that other city. And it's like, yeah, I've moved around quite a bit in my life. Number 8. Jane Austen was not vain. Give yourself a point if you have very little interest in vanity. I hope I'm not vain. I don't think I am. Usually vanity refers to your looks. And so I would say I don't think I'm vain about my looks. Number 9, hair was of little concern to Jane Austen. Give yourself a point if you just cannot be bothered with your hair. I'm gonna give myself a point for that one as well. I have definitely had a love-hate relationship with my hair in the past because I have very curly hair and I would always try to straighten it. I even had it chemically straightened at one point, and I would just do battle with the humidity and my hair. But once I finally just accepted that, girl, you have curly hair, and I learned how to style it for curly hair, now my hair and we have no issues. And some days my hair turns out with these lovely curls, and some days it's just a big ball of frizz, and I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. So I think that over the years, I have gotten to a place where I'm just not that concerned about my hair. It's just gonna do what it's gonna do depending on the weather, and I'm okay with it. Number 10, Jane Austen expressed her distaste for hot weather. Give yourself a point if you dislike the heat. Well, I don't know. I don't like it when it's super hot, but I tend to dislike the cold more. I don't like any extremes of temperature. I'm just very sensitive to any kind of extreme heat or extreme cold, but I would say if I had to pick, I would pick extreme heat rather than extreme cold. When I get cold, my bones hurt, okay? But when I'm hot, I just kind of start to feel kind of headachy from being hot. So I can deal with a headache. I can't deal with my bones hurting, so I choose cold weather, so I don't get a point for that one. All right, so I got 7 legitimate points in the quiz, and I gave myself an extra point for being a pastor's daughter. So that brings me to 8 points, one of which I gave it to myself illegally. The quiz says that if you scored between 8 and 9, in another life, Jane Austen and you could have been siblings, or at least good friends. You want to spend time with one another, and you work to make that happen. So there you have it. I am quite similar to Jane Austen. We could practically be sisters. Please leave a comment and let me know, how did you do on this quiz? How many points did you get? And are you and Jane Austen just besties, or do you not have very much in common with Jane Austen? This is such a fun quiz. I love that it's just kind of tongue-in-cheek and just, silly, something to be fun and not taken seriously. I love doing stuff like this for Jane Austen July and just celebrating our love of Jane Austen together. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.